AI agents, huh? That's what we're diving into today. And you went all out. Code, docs, even a LangChain YouTube video. You're serious about this stuff.
It's awesome to see, really.
Hmm.
People going beyond basic AI, trying to build something seriously useful.
For sure. So, AI agents. Like, imagine giving an AI a super detailed job description, right? And a whole toolbox of skills. That's kind of the gist, isn't it? It takes your instructions, makes decisions on its own, even uses different tools to get things done. They're way more than just a chatbot.
Exactly. And the introduction LangChain source you sent, perfect example. It highlights LangChain, which is key for this. But it's important to know it's not just a library, it's a full-blown framework.
Right.
That's a big difference. It's the backbone of these complex AI applications.
Right. So LangChain gives you the structure, but how do you actually design how the agent thinks and decides what to do? That's where LangGraph comes in.
You got it. LangGraph is all about visually designing the workflow. You basically create a flowchart. Each step is a node and the connections between them. Those are the edges. They show how information moves around, how decisions are made.
And it's not just basic, if this, then that. It's way more advanced than that. You can create loops, branches, even give the agent a memory of what happened before. I mean, that's what I got from that Oracle LangGraph source. You know, those features, cycles, branching, persistence, they're what make this complex agent behavior possible.
Yeah, for sure. Think about cycles. Let's say your agent manages your emails. Right. A cycle in LangGraph could make it constantly check for new messages, that it processes them, sorts them, all based on whatever rules you set up.
And with branching, it could be looking at the content of the email and deciding what to do. Like maybe it needs to look at your calendar first or your contacts before it knows what to do next.
Exactly. And then persistence comes in.
Yeah.
Super important. Otherwise, every interaction would be like starting fresh. The agent would forget everything. But with persistence, it remembers past actions, past data, so it's more personalized, more intelligent.
Yeah, it's like the difference between talking to a helpful assistant who actually knows you versus having to explain everything from scratch every single time.
And let's not forget about keeping humans in the loop. As amazing as these agents are becoming, you're still in control. With LangGraph, you can actually build in checkpoints where it asks for your okay before doing something.
That's good to know, especially if it's like booking flights or making big decisions based on data. You don't want it going rogue on you. Speaking of real-world stuff, you sent over some cool examples of agents in action, like that customer support bot and the data enrichment one. What about that customer support bot? What kind of things was it handling?
The customer support source mentioned travel arrangements, booking flights, hotels, rental cars, stuff that usually involves a bunch of steps. It needs real-time information.
Yeah, totally. Makes sense. It's like a perfect example of how AI can make complicated processes easier. But I'm guessing there's still got to be challenges, like getting the bot to always be reliable, make smart choices in every situation. That's a lot of responsibility for a bot.
Oh, absolutely. Even something as simple as booking a flight has so many little things to consider. A human travel agent, they just get it. Like a 12-hour layover, even if it's the cheapest, might not be the best option. But an AI, you got to program it to understand those things.
Which is probably where those human checkpoints in LangGraph are key. Like, if the bot isn't sure, it can just ask a human, accidentally booking a terrible flight.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance,
Yeah.
AI for efficiency, but with human judgment to keep things running smoothly. Now, how about we move on to that data enrichment agent? That one's super interesting.
Data enrichment agents, huh? Sounds super useful, especially if you're always digging through info, like having an assistant who never sleeps and gathers data from everywhere.
It's a game changer, really. That YouTube transcript you shared, the one about the LangGraph data enrichment agent template, perfect example. Imagine having to go through tons of websites, all different, trying to make sense of it all. This agent does it for you. Pulls out the important stuff, summarizes it so it's actually useful.
And it gets even crazier, right? These agents can actually double check their own work. It's like they have their own quality control system built in.
Exactly. In the video, they talk about how you can design it to spot its own uncertainties, any inconsistencies. It's basically like the agent saying, hold on, I'm not so sure about this part. Can you take a look?
That's wild. It's not just about automating the boring parts of research. It's about AI that can actually work with us, knowing what it doesn't know and asking for help when it needs it. Which kind of leads us to the really mind-blowing stuff. Agents that can actually learn from their mistakes, reflect on how they did.
Now we're talking. The reflection and corrective Craig's, just as you said, those dive deep into that. These agents, they don't just follow orders. They analyze what they did, figure out how to be better, and then actually get more accurate, more sophisticated over time.
So it's not just about doing the task, it's about understanding how they're doing it, right? Always trying to level up. How does an AI even begin to do that? It's not like it suddenly gains consciousness, that's right.
Not exactly, haha. Although sometimes it feels like it. With Raffian, it's all about building in this internal feedback loop. The agent gives an answer, then it looks at its own answer based on certain rules, like having an inner critic. And then it uses that critique to make changes, to revise its first response,
Yeah.
the result, a better, more accurate answer.
And the reflection source you sent had that cool example, right? Something about the agent trying to explain AI reflection itself.
Yeah, super meta.
Yeah.
So the agent had to explain AI reflection. Its first try was decent, but then the reflection module kicked in. It was like, hold on, this could be clearer, more detailed. It even suggested adding specific points and then backed them up with research.
So it's not just saying, I messed up. It's giving actual constructive criticism, stuff it can use to improve. That's amazing. Okay, so what about corrective R? How's that different?
So corrective RAG, or CRAG, it takes that self-improvement thing even further. It's laser focused on how agents use information. Imagine a regular AI, right? It finds something kind of relevant and just goes with it. But a CRAG agent, it's like a super meticulous researcher. It checks if the info is actually good, trustworthy, and relevant.
It's not just finding data, it's judging the data, and if it needs to, it goes and finds better data, like having a built-in fact checker.
Exactly. The corrective RAG, Craig Sorts had this example, right? The agent is researching something complex, finds a document. Okay, it's kind of related, but it's missing stuff. But the agent, instead of just running with it, it knows something's missing. So it starts a whole new search to fill in the gaps.
It's like it knows when it needs more information to give a complete answer. That's seriously impressive. But it does make you wonder, with all this talk of AI becoming more independent, more capable, what does this mean for us humans? Are we becoming obsolete?
The big question, right, tough to say for sure what the future holds. But I think it's more about working together, not replacing us completely. That what is an agent source? It makes a good point about different levels of agency. It's not like it's either dumb robots or super intelligent overlords. There's a whole spectrum.
So, not all or nothing. We need to figure out the right mix,
Yeah.
Play to the strengths of both humans and AI. But then, how do we make sure these AI agents are actually used for good? As they get more powerful, what are the big things we need to consider? It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. We've gone from basic computers to AI that can learn, think for itself, and now it's making its own decisions. Crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot to wrap your head around. This whole AI thing is moving so fast. It's natural to be, a little unsure about it all.
Yeah.
But we have to remember, we're not just along for the ride.
Yeah.
We're the ones building this, shaping how it all turns out.
Exactly. We get to decide how this goes. It's not about letting AI do whatever. It's about understanding what it can do and then steering it in the right direction, making sure it's actually good for the world,
Absolutely. And that what is an agent source, it really hits on that. We got to be careful. We got to make sure these AI agents, they're doing what we want them to do, that they're actually helping make things better.
So true. Which brings us back to LangChain and LangGraph. It's not just about building cool AI. It's about building it the right way, responsibly.
Right. 100%. Features like that human in the loop thing and persistence, those are what give us control. We can keep an eye on things, step in if we need to, even rewind and see how the AI made a decision. It's like having a safety net.
Yeah, total peace of mind, especially as these agents get more and more complex. It's like having a detailed log of all their decisions.
Exactly. Transparency is key. Got to know what's going on. And with LangChain and LangGraph, we can bake that right into the system.
So we covered a ton today. AI agents, the power of LangChain and LangGraph, even the big philosophical stuff. But if there's one thing you want our listener to remember, what would it be?
AI agents, they're not some far-off thing. They're already here. And they're going to keep changing the world as we know it. The most important thing, don't be afraid to explore, ask questions, and keep pushing the limits of what's possible. But always remember to be responsible.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And to our listener, keep up the great work. It's an exciting time to be into AI. Thanks for diving into all this with us. See you next time.